Hello all, my name is Anish. I'm the Director of Physical Education, Patel Group of Institutions. Today I'm here to talk about what is physical activity and why is it important in a individual's life. So talking about physical activity, it's all about the actions or the things that you do with your body. Let's say for example, it's about walking, running, and all those things. So the basic thing in physical activity, what we learn as a child, we call it as motor abilities. Motor ability is nothing but how to know how to throw a ball, or to know how to walk, or to how to ride a cycle. So all the basic things that our body can do. So these things are physical activities. Now, why is it important in a daily life? Is because one, it helps us to be healthy. So healthy in the sense, we have different aspects of being healthy. Let's say the diet, the other things. Now the main thing that it helps us in is being mentally fit. Now, how do we be mentally fit, and what are the uh, you know things that come under the mental fitness? So talking about the first thing, that is, it helps us to be away from stress, anxiety, and all those things. Because when we are in the ground, or when our body is active, it's all about improving our mood. It's all about improving the chemicals in our body, which actually makes our mood fine. Then other than that, talking about how does it help us in social, the social well-being, the social environment. So being physically active, it boosts confidence in you. It helps you to be confident about yourself. It helps you in engaging with people. It helps you in learning how the things work outside, outside your comfort zone. So that helps you in the social way. Now the main thing which helps is in the physical fitness. So how does a physical activity, a simple activity, helps your physical fitness? So starting with, I'll start from your heart. So when any small physical activity do, we'll say, let's say walking, or climbing up the stairs, or just bending down to pick up something. All these things, what it does is it makes our heart pump a bit faster. So when this happens, the heart gets the capacity of you know getting or pumping more blood into our body, into our muscles, into our whole body, which helps in keeping ourselves healthy. Now, other than that, the body helps us keep the temperature warm, where you won't have any injuries. See, there are common injuries which we talk about, where that is muscle strain and stress. So these won't happen is because these won't happen when we are involved in physical activity. The reason is because our muscles are everything, let's say the tissues, everything gets warmed up when we do it, and it has more flexibility, when we do a physical activity. So this is why physical activity is very important in an individual's life. When we talk about, if you have to talk about physical activity, it's a vast topic. But to be very precise and to be very short, I would like to tell you that physical activity is something, would make your life better in many ways. As I said, it's all about the world is all about stress. The world is all about, let's say you step out of the house, it's all pollution. You step up the house, it's all about the rush and everything. So to have a calm mind, to have a healthy mind, to have a healthy state of physical fitness, you need to be physical active. You need to at least walk or run, or have some kind of physical activity to make sure that you are in your zone, you are doing it. So how the world works right now. Let's talk about the newer generation into the phone. You can talk about the newer generation into different kinds of food, mostly the junk food and everything, right? So what does it do in our body? And we all know that most of us individually, let's say the generation that is coming up, who has cholesterol in a very young age. So that's what I'm talking about. It's all about how the generation is moving towards not having any physical activities, because it's all digital right now. People doesn't like to move out of their house. They get everything inside. They get everything in a touch of a button. So that is why, the physical activity is very important, because when we are in a very lethargic state, what happens is our body starts to degrade in all the way possible. For example, let's talk about the immune system. Immune system is something which helps an human, to have a very good and, a healthy life, because it is something which fights the diseases. It is something that helps us to be healthy. So when these things are not up to the mark because of all the habits, we are supposed to be in a state, or we have supposed to be in the environment of being physically active. So, even the smallest activity that you do inside your home, it's not necessary that you have to go out, join a gym or park or anywhere. Even if you could do a little bit of, 15 or 20 minutes exercise in your, home would help a lot. So, for example, if you want to know about what are the exercises or what are the small physical activities you could do in your home, let's talk about, doing some jumps, some small jumps in the house, just brisk walking inside your house, lifting things. Let's say, filling the water bottle would be one, or, you doing some jumping jacks, or you get a yoga mat, do some yoga in your house. So all these physical activities all together would make something, or would make a better, state of your, physical activity altogether. So, at the end, I would like to tell you all that, it's important to have fun, and also it's important to have the food that we crave for. But the most important thing is, are we healthy while we eating there, or we healthy while, just sitting in the home and scrolling, the phone. So we need to think about the bigger picture, that is where you grow up or you move forward, and how does your body react to the, state of where you become old. And so it's all about, what happens in the future. It's all about the bigger picture that we think about. So even the smallest activity that you do in your home, or you do outside, would mean a lot. So I would stop by telling you all that, being or doing physical activity is way better than, or doing a 5 minutes walk is way better than, scrolling the phone for 5 minutes. So thank you all. Bye.